So how do you get them to that end game scenario?
I'm very late to this party, and I'm also not a game master. I am a game designer, but I do have an idea that I think might help. Especially if you're a visual person, I think without a doubt, the best thing that you can do for yourself is sit down and try to brainstorm on a multi pronged outline. Specifically, what I mean is something that looks like this. For TTRPGs, I think it would probably look more like the core world building and facts that are immutable about this campaign being at the center of this little grid. And then the farther out that you go, the more that you're branching into possibilities that the players may come across. If you have an idea of who the big bad is, you can make an assumption about the kinds of more minor conflicts that would be caused in consequence of the big bad's actions. So maybe make like 2 or 3 orbiting NPCs around this big bad that your players can interact with that all have their own minor motives underneath the major motive of the big bad. And you just try to design this outline in a way that those pieces can be moved around chronologically to better suit the point in the campaign that the players choose to come across them. And you could just kind of think about it logically, right? Like if your big bad is a dragon that's hoarding wealth from an entire city, from the shadows, maybe they have a little underling that is an NPC who actually works for the city council and has been embezzling money from the funds the entire time for personal gain or to try to enrich themselves. So they have their own overarching motivation that fits into the big bad story, while also having individual or personal motivation that complements that overarching stuff. During session, you can kind of breadcrumb these different avenues that the players can take to solve the overarching problem, and they can choose which one is interesting to them and what approach they will take at their leisure. And because you already have the overarching framework for this full story, the big conflict and the little conflicts that attach to it, you can change stuff around in chronology so that you can make it harder if they come across something later than you're expecting or whatever, but you don't have to prep the whole thing out from the start of the story to the end. Also, this is an unrelated last point, but I think this is important to remember for all storytellers. There are only ever 7 basic plots. If you stick to something in this wheelhouse, you are very likely to end up with something that is psychologically satisfying for your players. And the more that you GM for the group that you're playing with, the more likely it is that you'll know which direction out of these 7 they're likely to head in based on the vibe of the group itself. And then you can plan accordingly and make it something that they want to enjoy and have fun with. But yeah, ultimately, I think that it's a lot about like learning to prep smarter, not harder, and not driving ourselves insane as game masters, game designers, etc.